To that, which leads us nicely in, right, as you said there, one of the main things that is part of the roles you've had in your career path, and one we spoke about briefly, is the procurement of funds, right? Is getting the funds, right? And sometimes they're not small amounts. I know you explained the project you're working on currently. You've got a commitment from government for a significant amount. Was it 60 or 30 million? But it's got to be matched by, you've got to get that equal funding from private sector, and then that'll unlock this funding, right? Am I right on those numbers? Walk us through that, like, and how do you even tackle that journey? So walk us through that as an example, please.
Well, the project that you're talking about is Australia's first Indigenous residential college, and it's purpose-built, with and for Indigenous Australians, which is really exciting. It's $100 million project, and so it's funded in thirds. The third from, government that we spoke about. The third is from UTS, who've put skin in the game, to solidify its commitment. But then the other third is the part that I'm working with my colleagues to get, $33 million from philanthropy. Yes. And it's different. I don't pick up the phone and say, hey, would you like to donate, blah, blah, blah. How I go about raising funds, along with my other colleagues who are, in a similar role, is through relationships. We're talking about major gifts of $1 million or more, up to, $30 million. And that doesn't happen by putting together a good business case. Obviously that's a part of it. There's got to be the rationale, but it's just through the relationships. Understanding, the individual, what their capacity is, what their affinity is, their relationship to the project, have they supported similar projects, and also what you understand they want to accomplish, whether it be resolve some sort of wish or dream, whether it be to be a part of something that is first, or whether it be, I really want to resolve or correct something that I've done in my past. And this is a way for me to reconcile that, which is really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I love that you're flagging again, though, heavily. You started by saying it's relationship value again, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
100%.
and it's relationship. So do you find then, have you got some people in that network and circle that have supported you in a variety of the projects that you're involved with? Because therefore, it's not necessarily about that one project because they've got a passion just for that one topic, right? It might be. So do you find that as well? Have you got some of these supporters that support a whole bunch of these with you?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. That have not just supported, scholarships that, obviously support Indigenous and Torres Strait Islander students, but that support things like the Indigenous Residential College, whether it be creating access to other, philanthropists or potential donors, or it could be something around, I'm really adamant about, the Black Lives Matter movement, and really not just protesting, but looking at policies and looking at how we're educating people, looking at how we're utilizing our own privilege to make a difference. I still have that group of people that are like, yeah, because our values are aligned. And how we know our values are aligned is because we have a relationship. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Every single thing I do and single thing that I've done throughout my career, at the foundation is the relationship. And the foundation of the relationship is, who am I being as a person? What value am I bringing to my own life by ensuring that I'm doing what I'm passionate about, I'm working in integrity, and I'm really kind of showing up for myself. And I'm being the best Brigette I could possibly be, whether it be work, whether it be advocacy, volunteering, or, just having fun with my friends. The core doesn't change, the language may change, but what's at the foundation is the relationship to self.
Yeah, the relationship, and you're right, the values are there. What we find, though, and certainly from the work I did and the research I did building out that framework, is that people have got, I'm going to say, preferred filters and facets of values. They've got their own value system, which may well align with somebody else's, but the way they perceive value they've got blinkers on. So an obvious example is people that are driven by the results.
Yes.
Measured. Give me the metrics. Give me the evidence. Heavily. But other people, I'm sure you'll have these in some of your relationships that you get the funding from. Yes, that's important, but they're more weighted on the emotional connection to the impact of the project, and the story of what that's going to do gets them to buy in. And so there's just one example of some people might be more weighted to the evidence, tangible value. Some might be more weighted to the emotional value. And what we find is if I prefer one of those, I might have a bias that I'm trying to present the idea aligned with mine, but I miss the mark because it's not aligned with theirs, even though their values might actually be the same.
Yeah.
It's the way I communicate it. Does that make sense? So
it totally makes sense, because that really explains how the donor journey starts. You need to figure out, is it outcomes? You know, at the end of the day, I need to say, if I contribute $500,000 to this scholarship, you know, how many bums on seats are going to be in my organization? It may even start like that, but then as the relationship grows, they're like, gosh, there's more to just getting people, Indigenous people in my organization. As, you know, I tick the box, I want them to stay.
Yeah.
And I want them to thrive. And that is 100% about how they feel and how you make them feel. And again, that's the relationship.
Relationship value again, right? There's a common theme here.